Now, this is going to be the Diddy video, a clip. Basically, there are new lawsuits that have came about in regards to Diddy, and somehow I don't know how it happened, but Jay-Z is involved. But before we begin, fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use to tips the balance in favor of fair use. And today, like I stated, the other live we discussed what we discussed. Not gonna get back into it. It's about the suspect, okay? But we're not gonna get into that suspect, okay? Now we're talking about this particular live is going to be strictly about Diddy, yes, and Jay-Z. Okay. So as you can see, today is December the 9th, 2024. And yes, we're going to discuss Diddy and Jay-Z lawsuit, as well as Jay-Z suing himself. Okay. And also a new Jane Doe has identified herself in a Diddy lawsuit. Okay. So, going to stroll down. Strolling down. Okay, and yes, we're gonna have to talk about Diddy. Now, before I start, I kind of want to give a little background on this whole mess that's been going on with Diddy. Hey, Art of War, thank you for coming in. Art of War, thank you so much. I had to do another live. Okay, I don't know if you went in the last live, but I'm in this live now. Okay, but today we're going to strictly talk about, this particular live, we're talking about Diddy. And I'm going to see how it goes, but I'm going to give a little brief on Diddy, okay, before we go on to what's been going on in the recent news with Diddy. And as you can see right here, unfortunately, they are coming for Jay-Z, okay? I don't know how they have somehow put Jay-Z in this mess. Art of War says, good morning, news lady. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Let me make sure I pin you. Pin you, Art of War. I don't know how Jay-Z has gotten into this mess. I really, really don't. I do not know. But in regards to Puff Daddy, he was indicted back in September for 3 federal charges, okay? If you guys know, you know. Now, when it comes down to this mess, yes, we're going to talk about it. Unfortunately, what's been going on, Jay-Z, okay, upon this initial lawsuit that was filed back in October, okay, Sunday. Now, it was filed back October, but it was refiled this Sunday, December the 8th, okay, as they say. And they refiled it, adding this poor, defenseless man, Jay-Z. Defenseless man named Jay-Z. The lawsuit is filed under New York's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act. And with this act, this allows victims to actually sue. Yes. Hello, Deshauna. Deshauna says, P. Diddy? Yes. Jay-Z, somehow they have put Jay-Z in a Diddy mess. Okay. But Jay-Z says he's not finna be part of this mess. But unfortunately, this person that's suing, that is representing the accuser to this lawsuit, is Tony Busby. And I spoke about this particular attorney. I really feel Jay-Z is the one that filed the lawsuit against Tony Busby last month, because Tony Busby said somebody anonymously filed a lawsuit against the attorney that's representing, okay, these anonymous, okay, victims, Okay, and the attorney that I'm talking about is Tony Busby. I spoke about this before. Okay, with him, he had a lawsuit filed against him last month by somebody anonymously. I really believe that person was Jay-Z himself, based off of what's all been going on. Okay, I really believe that lawsuit was Jay-Z himself. Now, when it comes down to this new lawsuit that was refiled, okay, I'm just going to break it down. Okay, we're going to break it down with this accuser. She said that she was quote unquote great at the age of 13 years old back in 2000. And if you guys can remember when I spoke about what happened in 2000, because this particular victim said she was great after the VMAs in the year of 2000. Yes. Hello, Inner Beauty Blessings. Thank you for coming. Good morning. Now, with this particular victim that says she was raped at the age of 13 back in 2000, allegedly, okay, she is stating that not only was it with Diddy, but it was with not one, not two. We're going to break it down because in this lawsuit, she also says that it is an unnamed woman that participated. Yes, watched all this go on. And if you guys can remember, I'm not saying it was her. I'm not saying it was her, but the woman that Diddy was dating, okay, and they actually took a picture together, it was, quote unquote, Miss Jennifer Lopez. Okay, and this is the picture that she took with Diddy at the VMAs in the year of 2000. I'm not saying it's her. I repeat, I'm not saying it's her, but we're gonna go forward with this lawsuit. Okay, the accused person says in the lawsuit on Sunday, this past Sunday, that she was raped at the age of 13 in the year of 2000. She still remains anonymous. She is still wants to remain identified as Jane Doe. She said the incident happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards after party. If you guys can remember, we talked about that. This was supposed to be after the VMAs after party in the year of 2000. She claims that in 2000, that Combs as well as Jay-Z, Diddy and Jay-Z, they both graped like the fruit, graped her at a house party at the MTV Video Music Awards in New York. Hello, Eyes. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. And congratulations. Thank you for coming in, Eyes. Now, when it comes down to this accuser, she says she was approached, okay? Or should I say she approached various limousine drivers to try to gain access. Why did she approach these limousines to try to gain access? Because she did not have a ticket to the VMAs, okay? Let alone an after party, okay? She had no ticket. Then she met an unnamed driver at one of the limousine drivers of Diddy's, okay? She approached various limousine drivers to try to gain access to show to the show or to the after party itself. Now, according to this accuser, one driver, this is when she's just walking around. She was dropped off. At the age of 13. Now, you guys have to put all this together now. Put all together. This is a 13-year-old girl that was dropped off, and now she's going to random limousine cars asking if anybody has a ticket to the 2000 VMAs, okay? Just think about that for a minute. Okay? Art of War says, this is sad for all parties involved. If she didn't get a grape kit done back then, this is all allegations. And I'm glad you mentioned it. And see, that is why This is why the attorney, Tony Busby, they filed it under the New York's Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Why? This allows them to sue when it gets out of a certain time, okay? I'm glad you mentioned that, Art of War. Thank you so much. Now, when it comes down with this accuser says she's 13 years old. She gets dropped off. She's walking around, going to different limousines, speaking to different people, trying to get a ticket to go into the VMAs in the year of 2000, and also trying to get the hookup to go to the after party of the VMAs. And that is when she encounters one of Diddy's drivers, okay? And this one driver, okay, told her that he worked for Diddy and that she, quote unquote, fit what Diddy was looking for. The alleged driver invited her to a party, an after party, okay, after the show, and told her to return to his car later in the evening after he transported Jay-Z and Diddy. The driver picked her up later on that night. After 20 minutes, they arrived to a quote-unquote White House with a U-shaped driveway. She had to sign a document she believed, okay, this is what it says in the lawsuit, she believed was a non-disclosure agreement, okay, on arrival, and did not receive a copy. This is what she said. She signed the NDA, and she said she did not receive a copy. She said the party was filled with illegal activities of Green and the snowman, as they say, okay, the snowman. And she was offered a drink that made her feel not herself and she wasn't able to control her surroundings. Now, I want to make sure I highlight this part, okay, because we also have to go back to a gentleman by the name of Justin, okay? I want to make sure I talk about this particular guy. We have to talk about him. This particular gentleman. I'm going to show you this one right here, okay? And the only reason I'm bringing this up because he's been going around, he interviewed saying that he went to a Diddy party at the age of 6 years old with his parents, right? And I talked about that. And the reason I'm saying this is because now look what has come up. This so-called accuser, she's trying to bring Jay-Z in. She's saying that she actually attended these events at the age of 13. And remember what I said. This particular guy named Justin Latavsky, I'm not sure to pronounce his name. I'm bad. Justin, we're going to say Justin. He went to a Diddy party, an all-white Diddy party at the age of 6, okay? And I'm going to play a little clip of what he said his experience was when he went to a quote-unquote Diddy party when he was at the quote-unquote age of 6. And thank you guys for coming in. And this is quote-unquote, I'm going to give a little bit more time before I show Justin, okay, for quote-unquote YouTube purposes. But going back to this lawsuit, this lady she was 13 years old in the year of 2000. She said that upon arriving to this quote-unquote party, okay, she said that the party was filled with illegal activities of quote-unquote Green and Mr. Snowman. She was offered a drink, and this is 13 years old. She was offered a drink that made her not feel so good, okay? Well, she was not aware of her surroundings. So much that she had to find some place to lay down. After she laid down to get rest from the drink, she stated Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room. Diddy then proceeded saying, "You ready to party?" She then says that's when Jay-Z, okay, participated and removed some things. I'll say it that way. You guys can read it. She says Jay-Z came in, participated, removed some things, and the next thing she knows, she ended up getting the fruit grape, okay, grape with Diddy grape. And also, this is when a quote unnamed female celebrity watched her. I want to make sure I highlight these key components, ladies and gentlemen, because who was the lady? Who was the quote unquote unnamed lady that watched? Okay, this is all what the accuser is saying. The accuser also said in the suit, she resisted. She resisted. She tried to stop. Okay? And this is just a phrase. She tried to stop Diddy from trying to force her to do some Monica. I'll say it that way. Bill Clinton and Monica. Okay? It's called the job, a Monica job. Okay? Or a Bill Clinton job. By getting physical with Diddy that made him stop. Hello, Miss V. Thank you so much for coming in. Hello, Joy. Hello, Joy. Thank you for coming in. And after the altercation amongst Diddy, Jay-Z, and a quote-unquote unnamed woman, the accuser, okay, grabbed her clothes and left. She made her way to a gas station where she called for her father. Now, I want people to understand, okay, with this part when she stated, the accuser, the Jane Doe states that she went into this party and she noticed illegal activities going on. If you guys can remember, Justin said the same thing happened to him in 1999 when he was 6 years old. Okay, now he's 30 years old. He said he remembers the smells of the green as well, and he remembered women, okay, looking not so, you know what, clothed, as they say. He remembered all this at the age of 6. Okay, he remembered all this going on. And hello, Grayson. Grayson says good morning. Good morning, Grayson, and thank you so much, Grayson. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Shout out to Grayson. Now, when it comes down to this gentleman named Justin, who's now 30 years old, he said something similar to what this Jane Doe is speaking of. And I'm going to play a clip. I think we can play it a little bit now. Okay, this is YouTube purposes. Okay, disclaimer, fair use. And this is the guy now. This is how he looks. This is how he looked before. I want to make sure I show it. This is how he looked when he was 6 years old, right? And this is how he looks now. And I'm going to play a little clip of what he said he remembers at the age of 6.
Me in an uncomfortable way, close to areas that you shouldn't as a grown man.
He recalled.
Now, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna replay that part one more time.
Put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way, close to areas that you shouldn't as a grown man.
And I'm also gonna play this part, what he said.
The two main things that I remembered.
So,
now, the two things he remembered was, and I quote, the two things that he remembered, I'm going to go back, and this is for fair use purposes. The two things that he remembered was the smells of green. This is the same thing that the accuser is saying. And the Art of War says 24 years ago, and just now suing is nasty work. There is no great kid, and no, she is suing for money is wrong. If she was great, she should have immediately went to the police. And I'm glad. Let me pin that. And see, this is why people have to understand, right? I feel people, look, I don't want people to think I'm trying to, victim shame anybody, right? I don't want people to think I'm victim shaming anybody. But I really believe all of this came about, and I think you guys know where I'm going to go with this. All of this came about when someone, won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit within 24 hours of them requesting $30 million. Okay, and I think you guys know who I'm talking about. And Grayson says, Art, I agree. Yes, because it seems as if everybody thinks that they can get a check, right? Now people want to come from things that happened over 20-something years ago. And this particular person, she said she was 13 years old. Now she wants to really come for the bag. She's coming for Jay-Z. She's mentioning, she made sure she said, and I quote, an unnamed woman watched all this go on between Diddy and Jay-Z, right? And now I want people to understand this. When it comes down to the quote unquote damages, I'm going to highlight unspecified damages. Where in the world do they do this at? Now, see, I want you guys to understand this. Why is she saying unspecified? Because she don't want to give a number. She don't want to give a number. She does not want to give a quote-unquote number. Why? Because look how long it has been. It happened in the year of 2000. Now, when it comes down to Jay-Z, Jay-Z said he is not having it. He is not having it at all, right? Now, as you can see, he's very upset. I'm gonna explain to you why Jay-Z, and I blotted out the kids because this is just really disrespectful. And I want to make sure, I had to talk about it because he released a statement. Jay-Z released a quote-unquote statement in the midst of all of this. And Jay-Z making a statement because it's really going down. He said, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt. So he's calling this a blackmail. Called a demand letter from a lawyer named, here we go, Tony Busby. I told you guys. Tony Busby, he's the one that's doing all of this. And with Jay-Z in his statement, he said, and I quote, I received a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. Now, he's trying to make it seem like Tony Busby's coming at him for nothing but money, and he's coming with threats. And the person that we're talking about is this gentleman right here, okay? Tony Busby, okay? Now, moving forward, he says, this is what Jay-Z said. Jay-Z says, no, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. Yes, he said it like that. And hello, Alex. Alex says, lock his whoa up. Whoa, Alex, thank you for coming in. Now with Jay-Z, he said, and I quote, he said, Tony Busby and this accuser that's coming for him, you're not finna get not one red penny. Right? And he also says these allegations are heinous in nature, that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Just like you said, Alex, should be locked away. Would you not agree? That's what this statement, this is all Jay-Z. Jay-Z is saying the same thing I've been saying now, because my whole thing is, All of these people that Tony Busby is representing, he's representing over 122 accusers that he calls victims, right? And the thing is, why are all these people, I'm not just talking about Tony Busby. I'm not just talking about Tony Busby. But why hasn't people tried to comment on a criminal level? On a criminal level. Everybody's coming on a civil level. Now, going on, Jay-Z says, these alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, Tony Busby, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these type of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable. He's calling him deplorable. Jay-Z is calling this attorney deplorable. He says, such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby. But I promise you, here we go. Jay-Z says, I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. Now he's calling him the type. You claim to be a Marine. Whoa, now he's going personal with it. Now he's coming personal with it. He's bringing up Tony Busby's military background. He says, you claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. The disrespect. The disrespect. Jay-Z says, my only heartbreak is for my family. Now, see, this is why Jay-Z's coming. Because he's like, wait a minute, I have 3 kids. I have a beautiful wife, okay, named Beyonce. I have a beautiful wife. And he says this, my only heartbreak is for my family. My wife, which is Beyonce, and I would have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these crimes and explain the cruelty and the greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degree of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. Whoa. I'm a young man who made it out the projects of Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to New York. We don't play these type of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me. If not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am. And I'm going back into the comments. Grayson says, if they took the money out of it, how many would drop their lawsuits? Exactly. Ike says, Diddy has kids too. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But 3 of them are grown. They're over the age of 25, knocking on 40. Grayson, thank you so much for coming in. Ike, thank you so much for coming in. Grayson says, I believe Diddy is guilty, But I am not convinced at all that Jay-Z harmed anyone. And this is what I want people to understand. I'm not convinced, not one bit either. And hello, Scuba. Scuba says Diddy has trapped many people in a hole they can't crawl out of. Yes, and see now, at this particular point, when it comes down to everything, Diddy has made an impact on everybody's lives, right? He's impacted a lot of people's lives. And the person that Jay-Z is coming for, okay? Because he says, you're not going to continue to attack my children, attack me as a man, and attack my wife. You're not going to do that, because when you come for me, you come for my family. Scooby says it's appalling. And I want people to understand, right? Because Diddy is not the only one that is being brought with lawsuits, because now, if you guys can remember, his sons, all right? Remember, his sons also have lawsuits as well. Okay? Lawsuits as well. And I want people to understand this. When it comes down to these lawsuits, and I want to actually show you the sons. They are also being sued. One of them specifically. And he was recently served with papers himself. Which son am I talking about? He was recently served papers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Diddy's son. I cannot make this up. I can't make this up. He was recently served papers, and the son that I'm talking about is whom? It is Christian Combs. Recently served with papers himself. And this is why people have to understand, when you do things, it also affects your family, right? And I really believe when it comes down to Diddy's son, Christian Combs, I want to make sure I can show you guys who I'm talking about. Christian Combs. For him, some people would say he's trying to emulate his father, right? Quote unquote, emulate his father, Diddy. Because now he's being sued. Yes, he is quote unquote being sued. And thank you guys for coming in. Scooby says, Diddy got exposed and now he wants to drag everyone down with him. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Exactly. And I want people to understand, when it comes down to everything that's been going on, okay, it's been a number of people that have been affected. A number of people have been quote unquote affected. And the son I'm talking about, okay, is this son to the far right, Christian Combs. He is currently in a lawsuit. And Lord and behold, what type of lawsuit? Here we go, a civil lawsuit. It is not even a criminal lawsuit. Yes, a civil lawsuit. And it's kind of odd because all of this is coming up within less than a month, right? Now new people are coming in as far as on record. Now you have Christian Combs, Diddy's son, okay, officially was served papers recently. In addition, you have Jay-Z. You can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. You have quote unquote Jay-Z being officially served papers, right? And see, I'm telling you guys right now, the game is just begun. The game has just begun, right? Because I want people to understand. I'm going to pin what Scooby said. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Because now you got Diddy's son being served papers. And the son I'm talking about It's not Justin. It's not Quincy. It's the one that's biologically his, by blood. Okay? Yes, a splitting image, Scooby says. Splitting image. And with this new lawsuit, okay, that Christian Combs was served papers on, okay, quote unquote papers on, and this lawsuit, it goes all the way back to April the 8th, but I want people to understand this. Christian Combs wasn't officially served papers until recently. Notice what I said, until recently. And the accuser's name, her name is Grace Omar Mary. She's filed a civil lawsuit against Diddy's son, Christian Combs, and she discusses how she worked with Diddy on the yacht in the year December 28th of 2022. She worked as a stewardess, and that is when she says, she says that Diddy had her working a 12-hour shift on the yacht, and her job was to quote unquote serve refreshments. And in the lawsuit, Mary Grace claimed to be a waitress to see, and she saw several women drinking alcohol, and noticed that they were, not acting the same. Okay, I'll say it that way, so much to the point they were unable to stand up. She further claims, okay, Christian Combs, aka Kane Combs, Diddy's son, okay, during the time that Diddy had this yacht party, his son would only come on the yacht in the evening to party, and on December the 28th, of 2022, he arrived on the yacht intoxicated and pressured her to drink tequila in a recording studio. Junkyard, thank you for coming back in. Thank you, Joy, for coming back in. Joy says, if there's a video of these crimes, bring out in court and let the chips fall. Woo! I gotta pin it, Joy. I gotta pin it. Joy says, let the chips fall. It's funny that you say that, Joy, because guess what? We have audio. And this is fair use. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have actual audio. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. We have actual audio of what Miss Grace Mary, the accuser that's suing Diddy's son, Christian Combs, aka King Combs. Yes, we have a little bit of audio of what happened on the yacht. Okay, and this clip that you're about to hear, I had to make sure I'm very careful with this, because this was added in the lawsuit, and this lawsuit that I'm speaking of is another lawsuit that Miss Grace is using in her lawsuit. Yes, you cannot make this up. I'm going to read the comments. Rick says, who was the third woman celebrity? Man, you know what? This is wild. I'm going to play, and thank you for coming in. Junkyard says, Jay-Z stood too close to Kryptonite Diddy. Now, I'm going to play a clip of when Grace was on this yacht and Christian Combs was in this alleged studio that was on the yacht, okay? And if anybody can remember, this was during the time Diddy was working on his album called Love. And yes, this particular audio is from the accuser, another accuser, Lil Rod, for a producer, the producer that was working on, that helped produce Diddy's last album called Love. And we're going to play it now. We're going to actually play it right now.
Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now.
Gonna play it one more time, you guys.
Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now.
Now, this particular clip, You can hear him sounding kind of a little, you know what, a little tipsy, as they say, a little tipsy, because just like she stated, and I quote, he arrived on the yacht intoxicated, and he tried to pressure her. And she stated, this is when Grace claims she was in the recording studio. Okay. King Combs tried to kiss her. Tried to quote unquote kiss her. She further claimed that, and I want to make sure this is all claimed to have been witnessed by Lil Rod, aka Rodney Jones, who is another accuser suing Diddy. You can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this up. Junkyard says Jay-Z is upset he didn't get any Diddy oil with the lawsuit. Why am I reading? Junkyard, why am I reading? Why did you put that, Junkyard? And what Junkyard is stating about, I want people to actually see, this was what was found. I want people to understand this. This is what was found at the quote-unquote raid. Yes. This was actually found at the raid. The baby oil. When they raided Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles, as you can see, all of this is baby oil. Right? Baby oil. All of this. And they said it was over how many bottles, ladies and gentlemen? Over 1,000 bottles, allegedly, of nothing but baby oil in a specific area. And it looks to appear to be one of Diddy's bathrooms. Rick says this is a video clip of a young girl, and Diddy asked if she was coming to the party. That can't be the youngster. Now, the person of the clip that you just heard, Scooby says Petty Combs. Petty Combs. Not Petty Combs. Now, I'm going to read the conversation that was shared between Miss Mary Grace, okay? That was shared between Miss Mary Grace, and she is one, Grace Mary, she's the one that's suing Christian Combs. She's the one that actually served Christian Combs papers recently in another civil lawsuit. And she stated, and I quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to." Right? And that is when Christian Combs says, "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." And then that's when she says, "Well, you can take your hand off mine for the first thing." Now, I want people to understand this. All this been going on, it seems as if, like I stated, when it comes down to, even with this Jay-Z, they're bringing Jay-Z into a civil lawsuit, right? It seems like all these people are coming in with civil lawsuits, but someone said it best. I want to make sure who said it. Someone said it best. Why hasn't anybody came with a quote-unquote criminal charge against Diddy, criminal charge against Jay-Z, criminal charge against Christian Combs? It seems like all of these lawsuits are civil lawsuits. Civil. Think about it, right? Now, in this most recent claim, the papers that was served against Diddy's son, Christian Combs, okay, this is all claimed to have been witnessed by Rodney, aka Little Rod Jones, who is another accuser suing Diddy. And Rodney worked with Diddy on his last album, Love Off the Grid. Okay. And Rodney claims to have audio from December the 28th to December the 28th, okay, let me make sure I fix this, of 2022, that allegedly supports Grace's claims against Kane Combs. Grace further on in her civil lawsuit claims that when she tried to return to work as a stewardess, Kane Combs would try to find her at one point, instructed her to find him a place to sleep on the boat, on the yacht. To his request, she found him a place in the cinema room of the yacht. In this area, Grace makes further accusations to say Kane Combs had her take her you-know-what off and tried to get her to do some you-know-what. And this is how now, with this civil lawsuit, she's claiming, okay, SA, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And she's also claiming AB, okay, AB. His dad, Diddy, also named as defendant because he is accused of abetting his son's behavior. Why? Because the yacht that was rented out, that it was in Diddy's name. Okay, so this is why Diddy is also being put in this lawsuit. Junkyard says, take your hand off my Diddy. Whoa, not take your hand off my Diddy. Oh, no Diddy, Junkyard. Hashtag no Diddy. Now, when it comes down to all of what's been going on, right? Grace, here we go. You can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. Grace is also seeking unspecified damages. Unspecified damages. Now, how and why is this of importance? Because that is what the Jane Doe who is suing both Jay-Z and Diddy, they are seeking unspecified damages. You cannot make this up, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot make it up. And with Diddy and Jay-Z, Jay-Z wants to make sure, he wants it to be known that he has nothing to do with this. And you're not going to continue, you're not going to put him in this. And like I stated, he released a statement, a long statement that I've already went over. Right? And now, in addition to that accuser who's being represented by Tony Busby, yes, we have another person that's being represented by this attorney named Tony Busby. And her name is Anna Kane. She's the one that's identifying herself, okay? Identifying herself because before this, she was like the other accusers and victims that were remaining anonymous. Okay? They were all remaining anonymous. And the reason I'm mentioning her is because this just happened even with her. And I want to make sure I show it to you guys when it comes down to the gentleman that we're talking about, Tony Busby. Okay? She is also represented by this attorney that I'm speaking of. And with Anna Kane, okay, she originally filed a lawsuit against Combs in December of 2023. And correction, let me make sure I correct myself. I'm not sure if she's represented by Tony Busby. So let me correct myself. Let me make sure I correct myself. Now with Anna Kane, she originally filed a lawsuit against Diddy in December of 2023, but only identified herself as what? Jane Doe. She publicly revealed herself just now recently as one of Diddy's earliest SA accusers Friday, this past Friday. She was recently married, but now they're divorced to the NHL hockey player by the name of Evander Kane. Okay, they were married between the year of 2018 to 2021, and they share a child. Now, when it comes down to Miss Anna Kane, okay, we're gonna have to break. I'm gonna just break it down. Okay, I'm just gonna break it down. She is the fourth woman to have stepped forward and accused Diddy of SA, okay, at his New York recording studio when she was a quote-unquote teenager. Anna Kane's amendment came as Diddy's lawyers were accused of attempting to intimidate her and the other accusers into stepping forward. Anna Kane, she accused 3 men of putting something in her drink and graping her when she was just 17 years old and a junior in high school. Now, Anna Kane's lawsuit includes quote-unquote 4 photos. I'm not sure if you guys have seen these photos before. This is the first photo that is actually in the lawsuit. This is of Anna Kane back in 2003. Okay, and as you can see, she is actually sitting on Diddy, okay? Sitting on Diddy, okay? And this is another picture of her. And all this is actually in the lawsuit. This is actually in the lawsuit that she is suing Diddy on a civil level. Now, Anna Kane, she claims that she had gone to a Detroit nightclub with friends where she met this gentleman, okay? Mr. Harvey Perry, okay? Where she met this gentleman. Who is this gentleman? This particular gentleman is a well-known record executive, okay? And he was the first person hired under Bad Boys Records, okay, in the year of 1993 when Bad Boys Records first launched. And when it comes down to Harvey Perry, he oversaw a lot of the label's projects up until he left in the year of 1995 in favor of a bigger position, okay, executive position at RCA Records. But then he later returned back, okay, back to Bad Boy, okay, to be the label's president in the year of 2008 up until 2017. Now, why am I talking about him? Why do I want to make sure I mention this particular guy? Because with Anna Kane, she puts him in her lawsuit, in her civil lawsuit. And in her lawsuit, she alleges that Harvey, okay, Scooby says, and why wouldn't she say? Because, to be honest, if you're bringing up trauma as an excuse, I'm pretty sure that it would be 100 times more traumatizing to not say anything than to let it. Now my thing is this. I'll tell you what I think about. When I finish. I have my own little reason with Miss Kane. Okay, respectfully with Miss Kane. Now, she's stating in this lawsuit with Harvey Perry, she alleged that Diddy and him, okay, they actually participated in doing things with her. I'll say it that way. Now, with her, she says that Perry allegedly called Diddy and had Kane talk to Diddy, as Diddy wanted her, who was then 17 years old, to fly out to New York City, okay, with a third man, a third one. Her lawsuit alleges that before she went to New York, she witnessed Harvey Perry smoking the C. Smoking the C. If you know what the C means, smoking the C. The letter C as in cat. And before the private flight to New Jersey's airport, she alleges that Harvey forced her to perform a job. I'll say it that way. To perform a job. A O job. Okay? O, the letter O job. And when the group arrived at Diddy's and Bad Boy's quote unquote Bad Boy Daddy's house recording studio, that's what it was called back then. The team was given some things, okay, by 3 men. She was given drugs as well as something else that starts with an A. As the night wore on, the 17-year-old Miss Kane alleged that she was not aware of her surroundings and that she was not able to consent to doing anything romantically or physically with anyone, much less someone twice her age. This is what she's saying. And thank you guys for coming in. And the lady that we're talking about is Miss Kane. She has identified herself. She identified herself this Friday. Okay? And she's the ex-wife of NHL player Evander Kane. And this was her when she was 17. This is all in the lawsuit filing, ladies and gentlemen. This is all in the lawsuit filing. Okay? And she decided to move forward and finally identify herself in order for this civil lawsuit to move forward. Why? Because the judge stated that she had to identify herself in order for this to move forward. Otherwise, the case would be dismissed. Okay? Now, as the night wore on, 17-year-old Miss Kane alleged that she was not aware of her surrounding, and then she alleges while at the studio she was ganged, okay, grape the fruit, by 3 people, okay, and in this specific order she said it was Diddy, okay, a third unnamed assailant, and Harvey Perry, okay? Now, Harvey Perry, we have already discussed. According to her, she said he was on that, you know what? She saw him smoking that hard C, okay? She said she saw him on some stuff, okay? And she alleges Diddy was the first person to, quote-unquote, fruit her, okay, inside a bathroom as she was, quote-unquote, over a sink. While Diddy was the fruit grape, okay, she says he complained that he couldn't get it, okay, get it, unless she pinched him, okay. It gets really explicit. I'm not going to get too much in detail. All I'm going to say, she said that Diddy wanted her to pinch him, okay? Pinch him. And Diddy then watched a third person join. That is when Miss Kane told the third person, this unnamed third person, to stop, okay? And after the third person stopped, Miss Kane alleges, okay, Mr. Harvey Perry, this man right here who used to be the record executive, okay, and also who was once the president of Bad Boy Records. Yes, we're putting it all together, ladies and gentlemen. She alleged that Perry stopped. She says when he was done, she says she fell to the bathroom floor and laid to herself. And she says that she was hurting. She could barely walk. And that's when she was helped to a car and sent back to the airport. back, and she said she barely remembered the flight back to her original place of Michigan. Now, Diddy's response. Here we go. Here goes Diddy's response. And Scooby says the real question is, why was she in a nightclub at 17? Thank you, Scooby. I'm gonna pin that, Scooby. Thank you. Why was a 7? See, this is what people have to understand. Like even with the last one I just gave you guys, I told you guys about with the 13-year-old. Who drops a 13-year-old off in the middle of the night to go chasing limousine cars down to get tickets to go into a after party as well as an award show? Who does that? Right? Who does that? And then even in this case, okay, 17 years old, she's taking a flight to see Diddy, okay, with people she doesn't even know, and she's going around these older men. She's being flown out, okay, allegedly, right? And all while she's 17 years old. Now, what is Miss Kane suing? She is suing Diddy, Perry, and the record label and the recording studio for here goes that word again, unspecified damages under a city law called Gender Motivated Violence Protection Law. Here we go. And why is she suing it under this act? We talked about it. We talked about it earlier. The law allows victims of abuse that occurred in the city to bring old claims, even if they've since passed outside of statute of limitations. So this is the lady, Anna Kane, that's suing. This is how she looks now, right? This is how she looks now. I want people to understand when it comes down to Miss Anna Kane, she, as well as the alleged other person that's suing Diddy, but now it's bringing in Jay-Z in this mess, bringing Jay-Z in, they are all suing for unspecified, both of them, unspecified damages. And I want people to understand this is just chaos. Scooby says, I kind of doubt it went down like that. Art of War says, oh, the victim is a white woman. Art of War says, oh, the victim is a white woman. Jay-Z is cooked. And Scooby says, I think she was sold. Ooh, sold. I see. This is, and I want to go back and show. I talked about her. I have to keep reiterating because this lady right here, her name is Precious Muir. She did another interview and she spoke about the kids. She spoke about the kids as far as who would let their child go to certain events, certain places, okay? Who would do that? And she says that the parents need to be held accountable as well. The person that we're talking about is this lady right here. She spoke about it. And this is fair use. She spoke about how parents also need to be held accountable. And she also hinted on how, she mentioned even Justin. They asked her about Justin Bieber. But this was her response in regards to parents. Okay? Parents. And this is fair use. Oh, one moment. It's commercial. One moment. Fair use.
you know, some of the people that are involved in this. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that, you know, some of the people that are involved in the situation in some way are able to just compensate the victims without it being public, because then it doesn't stop the issue. It doesn't stop them from...
Now, this particular clip, she's basically calling out everybody that is calling themselves want to be Jane Doe, John Doe, you know, anonymous. Okay. And this was the first clip. She's basically calling out people like this. I gotta be honest. We're gonna have to be honest. And see, this is what Jay-Z was talking about, even with the lawsuit that they call themselves put him in. Right? These people are coming in as Jane Does and John Does, and then they're doing civil lawsuits against people. And hello, retired paratrooper says, white patient, or who would do that? Woo, here we go. Joyce says, teens have been sneaking out even when I was a teen decades ago. Retired says, rented, not sold. Whoa. Now, when it comes down to Jay-Z, I want people to understand this. Like, the person that's suing both Jay-Z and Diddy, this person is a quote-unquote Jane Doe. She has not identified herself. She has not. And on top of that, Jay-Z said it best. This person is suing on a civil lawsuit and is not doing criminal. And on top of that, she is going for unspecified damages. And Jay-Z, he said it. I'm just going to read a little bit of his statement. He said that this is nothing but trying to get money. And he said, I will not give you one red penny. One red penny. He said, I'm not going to give you one red penny. And he also stated, my only heartbreak is for my family, my wife, and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. Now, see, this is why I'm wondering, right? Scooby says, correction, people do ungodly and unspeakable things for money. Rebel says, amen. Thank you so much, Rebel. Thank you so much for coming in. Please hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving a little breakdown on Diddy. Yes, unfortunately, Jay-Z is in this. They're trying to bring Jay-Z in this, and Jay-Z says he's not having it. He's not having it. Now, the lady that I just showed, this lady right here, I spoke about her, but it seems as if everything that she has said, right? And thank you for the like. Everything that she has said, it is coming up, right? It's coming into the present with these so-called civil lawsuits. And I feel I believe everything she said, right? Because she has not tried to sue Diddy. She has not tried to sue Diddy. She has stated her claims, okay? She has stated how she was violated by 2 photographers. She has stated that she was herself a victim of a Diddy party. And she's a former Playboy bunny, right? So she has herself said this. However, she said Diddy did help her career, right? But she said with her, she is questioning why did the parents, because she witnessed this herself, why would parents bring their children to these so-called events, to these so-called parties? Scooby says, yeah, they did sneak out, but they sure as heck wasn't being let to go in the nightclubs. Yes, and I'm just, I'm not trying to victimize anybody. Look, like I said, I'm not trying to victim shame or victimize anybody, But with this particular lady right here, Miss Precious Muir, she stated it. She stated it in her recent interview. How parents should be sued. They should be held accountable. That is, not sued. They should be, quote unquote, held accountable. Right? We have to take this into perspective, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you guys for coming in. And I want to get to the point, the part where she stated, and I quote, that parents need to be held accountable for their actions as well. And this is fair use. Going to the part where she says, I'm trying to find it for you guys for fair use. Okay.
Industry, and also the shame victims and these parties just trying to have fun, not cause any drama, not get drunk. I wanted to get your thoughts.
Normal stuff.
Exactly. People can be adult fun at parties. We talk about Hollywood in general, the experience of what's happening with this case. I imagine you've been following. We talked about.
Now, I'm trying to find it, but basically, take my word. I will go back. I want to find it, but this is fair use. When it comes down to this lady, she stated that, and I did pin it in the description. She stated how basically the parents need to be held accountable. She stated she even, they questioned her about Justin Bieber's mother, right? Scooby says, not a 17-year-old at a nightclub. Yes. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm trying to read the comments. Rebel says, Diddy, Jay-Z probably paid off the nightclubs. Now, I will go back to this lady right here. Because with her, she did state, I'm going to go down. Because she mentioned how an unnamed rapper, she spoke about a rapper, okay, tried to come on to her and tried to force her, okay? I'm going to mention it, okay? She speaks about a rapper unnamed, okay, has distanced themselves from Diddy, okay? And she remembered how this unnamed rapper throwed ice at her at an event at a club to get her attention to come over to him. And this was after Diddy's security approached her and asked her if she would like to come over to join. Now, why am I speaking of this? Let's bring it back. Because look at what these new accusers are trying to speculate, right? They're accusing, okay, that they were brought, and in Anna Kane's case, this lady right here, when she was 17, she was flown out. She was flown out to Diddy. Okay? So we have to put that into perspective. She was flown out. And not only was she flown out, okay, when she arrived, she was given a drink. And not only was she given a drink, she was given other stuff. And this is all at the age of 17. Now, when it comes down to, and see, that's another question I have. Where was her parents? Like this, people have to understand this. Where are the parents? Where are the adults in all of this? Because there's one thing I noticed, that a lot of these accusations and accusers, all this is coming, like the last accuser. Okay, the accuser that's still remaining unnamed in the Jay-Z and Diddy lawsuit that has recently came about, right? They're unnamed, but they were 13. 13 years old. Now, Anna's case, she was 17. So why is all of this coming out? Why? So I want you guys to think about that and put this into perspective. Put it into perspective. Now, when it comes down to the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, now we have Diddy's son being sued. He's being sued. Kane Combs. And I'm kind of worried about what's to come moving forward because, and I'm going back into the comments, Scooby says she was straight up sold. Scooby says, I think they sold or rented and it was all supposed to be kept under the wraps. But Diddy got exposed, so now Rebel says the parents should be held accountable. I would never take money for my child being with anyone. And I got to pin that. I completely agree. And I want people to understand this. Like, I don't know what's to come for Diddy at this point because so many people are suing Diddy. So many people are suing Diddy, and I have to use one person as an example. And this particular lady that I'm about to show you guys, she sued Donald Trump for something similar. Okay? Something similar. And she sued him for an incident that she claimed happened in a dressing room all the way back in the year of 1996. Okay? And the lady that I'm talking about is Miss E. Jean Carroll. This lady right here, she sued Donald Trump. I'm only using her as an example because her case, her matter, was something that happened all the way back. I want to highlight it. All the way back in the year of 1996. In the spring. And how did this civil case end? She ended up winning 2 suits, okay? She ended up winning the first one for $5 million, okay? Then she ended up winning another one for $83.3 million. So the first one she won was back in May of 2023. Okay. She won and they rewarded her $5 million. Fast forward, you guys know how how Donald Trump rolls. So I guess he was talking too much, he was talking so much to the point she came back with a defamation case. And she came back at him with a defamation case this year. Okay, and February the 8th, she ends up winning an additional $83.3 million lawsuit on top of the $5 million that she won the year prior. Now, this is just one person on a case that on a allegation that happened in the year of 1996 that the courts agreed to was true. Okay, that's what the court said. Now, how does this apply to Diddy? Now, remember what I just said. Diddy has on record over 30 active civil lawsuits, right? But according to Tony Busby, he says, get ready. I'm representing 122. I'm representing 122 people. And you have to understand all the people that's coming up now, they're coming from way in the past. Way back in the past. Anna Kane. She's going all the way back to 2003. Okay? She's taking it all the way back then. The other accuser recently with Jay-Z, and Diddy. They want to put Jay-Z in this. They're taking it all the way back to 2000. Okay. One more. This gentleman right here, Mr. Gilmore. He's taking his lawsuit. He recently filed the lawsuit. And his lawsuit happened December the 28th of 1991. December 28th. Wait a minute, not 1991. Let me go back. Let me make sure. Hold on. 1996. I'm sorry. His matter happened in 1996. So people have to understand, and the only reason I'm saying this, if Donald Trump lost the case last year on something, an allegation that happened in 1996, what in the world do you think gonna happen to Diddy? What do you think is going to happen to Diddy? I'm going back into the comments. Thank you guys for hanging in, coming in. C says, sometimes these girls be fast as heck getting by older guys. Now 25 years have passed. They have remorse about how they turned out. Thank you, C's. Look, I agree, C's. Scooby says, selling your child for money is disgusting. Rebel says, people, I can't say that word, people in a club is one thing, but getting D and getting an underage child is another. I'm trying not to say Scooby says, now I'm seeing two sides. Scooby says, yeah, people in the club all the time, but not a 17-year-old. She shouldn't even been allowed to go inside the club. Retired paratrooper says, rich and power men have gotten by with this, and this is another example of just nasty. Now, when it comes down to Mr. DeWitt Gilmore, like I stated, his lawsuit, he's seeking for $5 million. So he put a number on it. He put a number on it. He didn't do like Anna. He didn't do like Anna Kane. This lady right here. He didn't do Anna Kane. Suing for unspecified damages. He put a number on it. He put a number on it. Now, with Mr. DeWitt Gilmore, he left a message in a recent interview, and this is fair use, fair use. This is what he had to say. And this is fair.
Guys, make up your minds. What are you going to do? You're going to stay quiet or you're going to speak up? This guy is a menace to society.
Thank you for coming in, Joy. I appreciate it. Yes. Please don't victim shame. Please, chat, don't victim shame. I'm a survivor of untold stories. Yes, my heart goes out to you, Joy. Yes, my apologies. My heart goes out to you. And I hope it's not coming off like that. If it, my apologies. I don't ever want to, quote unquote, victim shame. Yes, I do not wish for it to be, quote unquote, being victim shame. I don't wish that. Let me make sure let me back it up, because I want to make sure I correct. You know, I don't want to victim shame, right? I don't wish that on nobody, right? I do not wish the things that are coming up, and this is why I did this particular, when I spoke about Cassie. Cassie is the one that I can say my heart goes out to, right? Because the cameras don't lie. Video doesn't lie, right? And all the time, people were quote unquote saying things it was not true, it was not true, but video doesn't lie. And I will say this when it comes down to victims, right? I want to say this, and I'm standing on this. There's no amount of money. There's no amount of money that can ever take back what somebody goes through. And I'm saying that on a personal stance. I'm saying it on a personal stance. No amount of money at all. And I will say this. This is why you have to be careful how you treat people and how you move, because karma does come back on people. And people know how Diddy has been treating people. Now, I will say this. Art of War says, asking logical questions about the allegations is not victim shaming. To say a man grape a woman will stick with him no matter if he is guilty or innocent. Yes, exactly, Art of War. But I just want to make sure I don't want it to seem like I'm victim shaming. I don't want to, disrespect, anybody that's been a victim, right? I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And thank you, Art of War. But I want to make sure people understand this. And I'm speaking of personal experience myself, Joy. And I'm speaking of personal experience myself. Like I don't want to get too much in detail, right? I might speak on it on the membership or, maybe another time. But from a personal level, take heed to what I say. I understand, right? I have actual papers to prove that I understand. I was similar to this person right here. So for me personally, I'm telling you right now, if anybody, I would never victim shame. Never. Right? Promise you, not me. What I would say though, for me personally, right? I can't understand someone that would bring Jay-Z in this. I can't do it. And I will say this, women and men, they go through things. And this is why I stood and I still support the victims that are in the Mike Jeffries case, right? I still stand by those men. And I still feel to this day, they are not getting the same treatment. They're not getting the same treatment. Because my personal opinion, just like Diddy is locked up, Mike Jeffries needs to be locked up as well. Needs to. So I want people to understand I would never, victim shame anybody. My heart goes out to victims that been in situations such as this. And I'm telling you right now, I have paper trails when it comes down to me, myself, and I. And that's one of the reasons, I speak on matters such as this. This is one of the reasons. But I cannot understand. I can't understand people coming for people 30 years ago. And I will stand on this. And I'm standing on this. Parents have to be held accountable. They have to be held accountable because there's no way, no reason someone should ever take their child to a event of any sort dealing with a Diddy. None. You should never take your child to a Diddy event. Never. So, like I stated, my heart goes out to the victims, right? Victims that's been in situations, right? My condolences goes out to victims like this, right? My heart goes out. But like I said, I have to question certain things. I have to. Retired says, questioning why they fear for their lives, even the men. Yes. Rebel says they fear for the lives, even the men. And this is why somebody somebody like Diddy, Diddy's been treating people bad. He's been treating people bad, right? Diddy's been treating people bad on a business level. Diddy's been treating people bad just even on all kinds of levels. And when I mentioned this gentleman right here, Mr. DeWitt Gilmore, hello, Green Vegan. Green Vegan says people were scared of him. Yes, like I stated, I'm going to say this one more time, right? Because I don't want to get personal, but I want to somewhat get personal because I truly respect the people that follow me, and I have to give respect. I do not want people to think that I'm victim shaming anyone. And Green Vegan is not for you. I'm just saying you come on the back end, but I want people to understand I've personally been through things. Trust me. I know how Cassie feels. Trust me when I say that. I know how Cassie feels. Right? So when it comes down to that, trust me, I would never victim shame anybody. And now I will give a little bit of it. Picture being in the position, and I'm speaking for myself, and I'm having a heart-to-heart moment. I don't care who all listens, right? I've been in the position to this day. I'm not comfortable around men. I'm not. Why? Because I've been this person. I've been this person. Right? So when I say I completely understand. I have papers behind it. I have papers behind it. And that's why I say for me personally, on a personal level, my matter, I had to deal with it on a criminal level, not a civil level. And because of how I dealt with the matter, to this day, I'm not comfortable around men. I'm not comfortable around certain energies. And if I see any kind of toxicity, I'm taking it there. That's how it has played a factor with me. And some people who have been victims, they act different. Me personally, if I see some type of toxic energy, if I see it hits me different. And I act very different. I'm very just not comfortable around certain things. And because I went through things, I can see things a mile away. I'll say it that way. And I'm telling you guys, when it comes down to this person right here that we're talking about, he's not innocent. He's not innocent. But what I will tell you, in my case, everybody's different. Nobody's the same. In my case, I went on a criminal level filing charges. Not civil. Not quote unquote just civil. Right? Rebel says, you are doing great, girl. Thank you for exposing the truth. I can tell your heart is in this. Yes, it's, that's why I say you don't know people. Not you, but I'm saying people don't know people behind the camera. And see, for me, I have to, I'm dealing with, getting comfortable because like I said, I am a quote unquote person that has been through stuff like this. Similar. I don't want to get too much in detail, but similar to this person right here. Right? Very similar. And when you go through stuff, that's why I say I commend people like this. I'll say this. Not only did she come out, right? Show it in a lawsuit. Tell it in a lawsuit, right? But it's still out there, and it's for people to be an example. Speak, be a voice. Be a voice. And to answer to add on to what the Green Vegan said, Diddy is a demon. That is why my quote for today, it's a coincidence that you said that, Vegan. I promise you, me and Vegan have not talked on the phone or none of that. But that is why the quote for today was, and I quote, evil never sleeps. It never sleeps. And that is why us as people, we have to always, not only know ourselves, trust ourselves, but we have to have positive energies around us at all times. We have to have positive energy. And when I say positive energy, always have a positive mindset. And how do you have a positive mindset? Not hanging around people that do no good. Right? Not hanging around people that do no good. And I'm not saying no names. Right? But all I'm going to say is this. There's a reason she was looking down in this picture. There's a reason she was looking down in this picture. There's a reason I chose this picture. Rebel says, yes, this is very demonic. Yes. Rebel says, I honestly believe Cassie barely made it out. She would have been the next. Yes. And see, this is why I say, I want people to understand this. When it comes down to this gentleman right here, he did a recent interview and he said, people need to speak up. People need to say something. When you see something, say something, do something, right? Speak up. And when I say people, I'm talking about, okay, your friends, right? Just like with Cassie. Cassie's friend, she spoke up. And she tried to tell Cassie to leave. But Cassie didn't want to leave. So what did her friend do? She said, I'm such a good friend. I cannot continue to see you like this. I have to leave because I will not continue to see you like this. That's a friend. That is a friend. And I want you guys to understand, like I stated, I'm telling you guys right now, I would never, ever condone any of this. Any. And see, that's why I tell people with me, and I'm not trying to throw stones on anybody, but I'm saying when you come on this platform, the Politicgram, I'm going to break things down. And yes, it might sound like I'm emotional and all of that because I truly value when I give information, just like I value this information. And I hope this is a small platform. I hope this goes out to Cassie. I hope this goes out to people who have been a victim, right? But I want people to know when you get out of it, you are a warrior. Why? Because you are a voice for others. You are an advocate for others. And you made it out. You're able to say, I'm here today. So I want people to understand that, and I cannot and I will not condone anybody that goes through this and anybody that treats somebody the way Diddy did. And like I said, I take it farther on than just this because like I said, Diddy did people wrong. When I say wrong, I mean even on a business level. Even on a business level, wrong. Putting people in long contracts. That's why Cassie never really made it in the music industry like that. She was with this man, 10 years? How many albums she had out? How many albums she had out? How many movies she's been in? I'll say it this way. Jennifer Hudson came out after Cassie. Jennifer Hudson has an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. She's part of the EGOT community. But what all does Cassie have? She went through a lot. That's why I say, I try to, I want people to understand that. The Green Vegan says, you are right. Evil never sleeps and try to sleep deprive you so you can be weak. Exactly. That's why I say, I always say these things and some people stay in and some people don't, but I always say this at the end of my life. That's why I speak on these 4 quotes. Okay? I always say this. Eliminate the if. Focus on the present. Focus on self, not on others. Tell yourself, I will learn something new every day. Tell yourself, I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. Advocate for yourself. Speak up. I speak on this every day. Every live I do, I say this. Why? Why do I say this every live? Why? Retire says, Retire says, quiet non-participants are no better than, yes, the perpetrators. You are absolutely right. Rebel says, I feel for them because you couldn't go to the police. And you heard it. You couldn't. Because even with DeWitt Gilmore, in his case, he was chased down by Diddy. He was chased down by Diddy, followed. Even after he told Diddy, I don't want no mess. But he was chased down by Diddy. So I want people to understand this. This is why I say these quotes. I say these things. And I'll break it down even in Cassie's case. Right? When did she have time to learn something new? She had this one following her. She had Diddy. She couldn't go nowhere. And I spoke on this. Retired paratrooper says, nice show, thanks. You're welcome. I appreciate it. Like I stated, I don't ever want nobody to feel like I'm victim shaming anybody. And I promise you guys, if you knew the person that's talking behind this camera and the stuff that I've been through, and that's why I always say, I never want to lay my burdens in anybody's lap. Never. And good morning, Amber. Amber J says, morning, y'all. Morning, Amber J. Thank you for coming in. Rebel says, even the doctors who sold up people's ends need to be held accountable. They should have been reported. Amber J, thank you for coming in. Like I stated, I never want to, have anybody feel that way. Like I said, never. And I never will. Like I said, if you knew the person behind this camera, I'm telling you guys, I believe I can see when somebody's going through something now. Because of what I went through, I can see it a mile away. And it has nothing to do if it's man or woman. And that's why I said earlier, Mike Jeffries, I don't care if he is 80 years old. If Diddy is locked up, he needs to be locked up without bail. I don't allow certain things in my life because of what I've been through. Why? Because I try to advocate for myself. Why? Because if you don't speak up for yourself, who will speak up for you? That's why. That's how I roll. And thank you for coming back in, Rock. Thank you for coming back in. That's why I say, sometimes the very first thing you must do in your life is what? Amber J says, I feel bad for that girl. And thank you, Amber J. That's why, I want to speak on it because I don't want nobody to quote unquote victim shame because that's what this live was not supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about educating. It was supposed to be about informing, not victim shaming. And Amber J, if you just come in, I had stated that I've been through something similar with Cassie, that Cassie been through. And I said the difference between me, and I'm taking Cassie out of this, but the difference between me and these other quote unquote accusers and victims, I didn't do a civil, I did criminal. I had paper trail behind mine, just like Cassie, paper trail. And when it comes down to Cassie, I want people to understand this. Like I said, I want Cassie to know this. You are a warrior. You are a warrior. And I'll do a video specifically on that for victims, right? And I don't like that word victim. I don't like that word. I don't like the word victim. Rebel says, you are educating us. Thank you. Thank you. You still have PTSD from your trauma, and it shows because you're not victim shaming at all. You're helping. I'm trying, Rebel. You know what I'm saying? Amber J says, I forgot who was getting interviewed. They said yes, and passed her around. Like I stated, I understand things that Cassie went through, right? Because I stated I put a little bit of myself in it. I've been through some things. Like I said, some things. And anybody who knows if you know about Atlanta, I will say it that way. If you know about Atlanta, Georgia, the things that go on in Atlanta, Georgia, even in the world, period. Take my word, take heed for what I say. I've been through some things. I understand Cassie, and that's the main reason I use this particular photo of her, because this particular photo was taken not too long after Diddy chased her down the hallway. Ruck says, keep the fight, Politic Graham. We need you out here right now. Yes, I appreciate it. And thank you, you guys. I appreciate it. And see, with Cassie, people don't understand that Cassie, she lost friends. She lost true and dear friends because of this person right here. And like I stated earlier, a true friend. That's why I be very careful when people say, you're my friend. No, you're not. You're my associate. Because a friend is going to call you out on things. A friend is not going to allow you to hold your head down like Cassie did in this picture. A friend is going to tell you, lift your head up. What's wrong? If a friend sees you going through stuff like this, what Cassie went through with this, she would never, and I quote, she would never, and I quote, go through or allow this to go on. A real friend. So I just want to put a little bit in, and I apologize, you guys. And thank you so much, Amber J. Thank you so much. And I try not to get emotional. I know people say, oh, she's so emotional. No, I just, like I said, I'm very passionate with what I do. I take the time out with the research that I look up. And like I said, I commend people like Cassie. Like I said, I'm going to do a short video in regards to Cassie. And I did do a poem in regards to me. Like when I get upset because of the trauma that I went through personally, I take my energy and I put it into positive notes. And my way of putting things out on a positive level, either I will write poems. One of the poems I do have it in my membership to express a frustration, right? And if I don't do poems, I also practice doing nails. Yes, nails. So these are the way I cope with things, right? These are the things how I deal with certain things. And I think with Cassie, like I stated with her, oh, thank you so much, Rug. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You're so sweet. You were so sweet, Rug. And thank you, Herbal the Goddess, for coming in. Thank you so much, Herbal the Goddess. Ruck says, gotta go back to work. Hugs, big hugs, Ruck. Thank you. Shout out to Ruck. Rebel says, Cassie is strong because she found a way out. And that wasn't easy. She paved the way for the rest. Exactly. And like I stated, had it not been for this one right here, that's why I said, I've been saying this. I said all these lawsuits came up because of this one right here. All these lawsuits came up because this one right here. Even this man, a grown man, he said somebody got to speak up. He said it. He called out Ellen DeGeneres. He called them out. Called out Ellen DeGeneres. Called out Kim Kardashian. He mentioned all these people. He said, somebody got to speak up. And this woman did. This woman did. That's why I don't believe in the word victim. I don't believe in that. I don't like that word because people try to use it for the wrong ways. That's why I say I call this lady right here a warrior. You know, when you're a victim when you don't speak up. You're a victim when you bow down. You're a victim when you hold your head down. But you're a warrior when you speak up, when you move and you move forward and you don't give up. So I thank you guys. And like I stated, you know, my apologies. I hope, you know, I didn't mean any harm. Amber J says, did you hear Jamie Foxx called the FBI on Diddy too? What? I didn't hear that. Jamie, you know what? I would say this about Jamie because Jamie been coming to Atlanta a lot. I'll talk more about Jamie on another live. Jamie Foxx. Rebel says, I'll be back later. You got a subscriber right here. Shout out to Rebel. Thank you so much, Rebel, for being a subscriber. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. And shout out to you guys. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. I got to give a shout out now. I appreciate it. Shout out to Rebel. Shout out to Amber J. Shout out to That Green Vegan. Shout out to Ruck for gifting a gift. And shout out to the Herbal Goddess. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Retired Paratrooper. Shout out to Art of War. Thank you for coming in. Shout out to C's. Shout out to Joy. Joy, I apologize. I hope it look. Like I said, Joy, I meant no harm. I promise you. Shout out to Scoobies. Shout out to everybody that came into this live. Shout out to Junkyard. Shout out to Rick. Shout out to Ike. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Miss V. Shout out to Eyes of Art. Shout out to Inner Beauty Blessings. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much. And as always, Amber J says for D'ing him, I guess I wonder if that's why he went to the hospital. Now, like I said, Amber J, Jamie Foxx did make a statement here in Atlanta, Georgia. It just wasn't in the public. I'll say it that way. It was private, as they say. Yeah. So I might talk about Jamie in another live per se because Jamie went through some stuff. Jamie went through some stuff. Yes, he went through a lot. But I will end it on this. I will end it as I always end it with my statements that I always say. Number 1, eliminate the if, focus on the present. Number 2, focus on self, not on others. Number 3, tell yourself I will learn something new every day. Number 4, tell yourself I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. Number 4, advocate for yourself and speak up, because if you don't speak up for yourself, who will? And I want people to remember that, right? Speak up. Don't allow toxic energy to come in your presence. Don't allow it. Even online. Even online. Always have positive energy. Positive people. Just like you guys in this chat. Everybody in here, positive energy. And on that note, this is Politic Grim. Always have a peace of mind and always be in peace. Bye.